What's going on, everyone? DSP here for part 2 of the 25th episode of Ask the King. Special episode where I'm taking extra time to answer your questions. And so this is part 2. It's probably not going to be the last part, to be completely honest. That being said, let me start my timer and let's jump right back into it because we've got a lot of questions to answer, okay? The next question, it says, "Hey Phil, I watch your videos almost daily and I know that you make your living from your ad views. I use an Adblock app for Google Chrome. So my question is, do you make money from my views?" And that's from Symbiote or Symbiote. I don't know how the fuck to say it. I give up. 1996. Now this is an interesting question because previously I've gotten this question and I answered it and I think maybe the answer might have changed. So let me explain what I mean. First of all, I don't get paid on ad views. I get paid on video views of videos that are ad supported. So what this means is that if the video you're watching is eligible to have an ad on it, I get credit for it. So for example, previously when you watched YouTube videos on your phone or maybe over Xbox Live, you wouldn't see ads. And because of that, I wasn't getting paid for it. Well, YouTube has finally upgraded their technology in the past couple of months. Now everything is ad enabled. So pretty much every video view that I get paid for. Okay? But that being said, I made a forum thread about this yesterday on my website, thekingofhate.com, because I think John Rambo and I inadvertently discovered a site bug that affects viewership on videos in regards to episode 3 of Project 7 and something that we discovered. So let me explain the situation quickly because I don't want to go too far long on this one question. When episode 3 of Project 7 came out, just like I had done with episode 1 and 2, I set it as the featured video on my channel page, DSPGaming, and also as the featured video on all of my other YouTube pages, okay? That was what you saw when you went to Old Dark Side Phil, the King of Hate HD. That was the video. And what happens is, when I did that, ads are enabled. So what would happen is, it would run that video ad, and then you would see the actual content, the Project 7 episode 3. So when this came out, when this episode came out, by far, we got massive praise for it. People said, "We love this. It's so cool. It's gaming related. You've got effects in there. It's amazing. We love it. Best episode yet, by far." So critical acclaim, massive. The amount of the amount of comments on the video were the same as the amount of comments we had gotten on episodes 1 and 2. The amount of likes that we got on the video, thumbs up, was the same as the amount that we got on episode 1 and 2. So everything is the same, and we're getting massive praise for the episode. But by the end of the week, I had it set for 1 week as the main video on all my pages, it only had like 80,000 views. And we all stood there scratching our heads because episodes 1 and 2 had actually gotten between 100 to 120,000 views in their first week, and I had done the same kind of method, set it as the featured video on everything I had. And we all were talking amongst ourselves, everyone who works on it, and we said, what happened? What went wrong here? Like, how is it that the most popular episode, which seems to be having just as much buzz, just as many comments and likes, got the least views by far, too? It wasn't like, a couple thousand. We're talking 20 to 40,000 less views than the other episodes. It didn't make sense. We were all confused as hell. Even as of today, YouTube shows that this episode only has about 112,000, 113,000 total views. So we were thinking this over, and we're trying to figure it out. And during this period of time, John Rambo also noticed that his videos had abnormally low views. Now let me explain the comparison here. John Rambo does not put out 30 videos a day like I do. What he does is he puts out a couple videos a week, and when he does, whatever video it is, he puts it up as the featured video on his page. So what we discovered is that all the videos on his page that had been featured videoed on his page also had abnormally low views during that same week that Project 7 Episode 3 had low views. And so we did some experimentation and came to a conclusion. What we think happened is, and we think this is still true today, something is going on with YouTube regarding videos that are the featured video that have video ads on them, meaning those pre-roll ads, that 20, 30-second ad that plays and then the video starts. We actually think that YouTube is gypping people of views if there's video ads on the video you put on the main page. So, to give you an example, John Rambo's, his podcast for that week, had literally half as many views as usual. And he was just stumped. He's like, what was it, bad content? I don't know. So we tried something. we decided that for every video that we upload, if it was going to be the featured video, we were going to disable the video ads for it. And we've been doing that for the past month and a half, and since then, we haven't had any problems with video views. In fact, today's Thursday. Episode 4 of Project 7 was actually released early Sunday morning. So as of right now, you got Sunday to Monday, Monday to Tuesday, Tuesday to Wednesday, Wednesday to Thursday. So, how did I get Sunday to Monday, Monday to Tuesday, Tuesday to Wednesday, Wednesday to Thursday. Thank you. I'm a retard. 4 full days have passed, and now it's about midday, so 4.5 days have passed. Episode 4 of Project 7, as I did with Episode 3, has been set as the featured video on all of my pages, and I've been disabling the video ads on there. It now has over 100,000 views. So, problem solved. There's something going on with videos on YouTube as the featured video that have these video ads on them. For some reason, Episode 3 got gypped out of views. It really did. Now, it doesn't mean that people didn't watch it. I fully believe people watched it and enjoyed the episode, and it probably literally should have as many views as Episodes 1 and 2. What I think happened is either, it could be a couple things. I have a couple theories. Either ad blocker, for whatever reason, on the featured video, because the video, the ad never shows up. Maybe it doesn't record a view. I don't know. Maybe when you skip those video ads, when you click on that, it causes something. Basically, it's a YouTube issue. But whatever it is, something is causing featured videos with video ads on them to not get proper viewership. So what you're going to see is usually the featured video on my pages will not have those video ads. On everything else you might see them, but for now I've been disabling them, and I haven't had any problems with views over the past month and a half. I really think it was YouTube screwing us over, which is unfortunate, because here's the thing. Not only did we get gypped out of legitimate views, but because the view count was lower on Episode 3, it probably didn't get to, say, one of the main pages of YouTube, and so even we lost that viewership. There's usually casual people who know nothing about us, and they see it. Oh, wow, gaming video with 100,000, 120,000 views in a couple days. Let me check that out, and they'll check it out, and we'll get extra views that way. I don't think it ever showed up on any of those pages, and we really lost out on viewership on Episode 3 because of that. So to answer your question, previously, I don't think that ad block affected videos. I actually think it might now. I think for these featured videos, ad block may not give credit to the person whose video you're watching. I'm not, excuse me, it's hot here. I'm not positive, but that's my theory, and I wonder if that's the case. And I've now spent way too much time on that question. So the answer is, I don't know if ad block is affecting me right now. However, I'm not enabling video ads on my featured videos anyway, so hopefully I'm getting full credit for what I put as a featured video. Okay. Next question. What do you think of the Resident Evil movies? In my opinion, the first one was alright, everything turned to shit, and then the series only exists now because Paul W.S. Anderson enjoys casting his wife in that overpowered role of Alice. The characters are terribly casted, too. I just saw the trailer for a 5th movie, and I want to shoot myself. I don't want to live on this planet anymore. And that's from Solid Fantasy. Well, I guess what I can say is Paul W.S. Anderson has claimed another suicide victim. Because, yes, it is unfortunate. The Resident Evil... I feel like there's a piece of hair here, but there's not. The Resident Evil series of movies, a lot of people have mixed feelings about them, but they seem to do well at the box office. And if you really want my honest opinion, here's it. I think the first movie was an interesting take on the original Resident Evil plot. It had potential. Of course, Alice, the main character of this series, has nothing to do with the Resident Evil games and is never a character in any of them. It was completely made up by Paul W.S. Anderson because he wanted to put his wife in the fucking movies, okay? So, the first movie looked like it had potential because maybe it could have led into something that was Resident Evil related, but any movie after the first one has really nothing to do with Resident Evil. If anything, what all Paul W.S. Anderson does, he pretends like he knows about the games, and he tries to take elements like Nemesis. He put that in the second movie. And, okay, Wesker, he was in the 4th movie as his, T-virus self, and he was fast as hell. Like, he tries to do these things to claim that these movies are about Resident Evil, when in reality they're not. He's now taken this series so fucking far away from the Resident Evil mainstream canon story that they shouldn't be called Resident Evil anymore. It's kind of ridiculous, and I can understand why Resident Evil fans are pissed off that this series continues to make more new movies and just continuously fuck up anything Resident Evil related. But that being said, I actually think the common person doesn't give a shit about Resident Evil, and if they want to look for a good action movie, let's be honest, these are some pretty crazy action movies, and I think that that's what they're going to see. So it does well at the box office because people aren't going in with the expectations that this is Resident Evil. They just think, oh, it's a really cool action movie with zombies and monsters, and they go in and they watch the movie and they enjoy it for what it is. And I think that if we are going to enjoy those movies, that's what we have to do. We have to kind of forget that they're even called Resident Evil, and instead just enjoy them as silly summer action flicks. Okay, next question. Hold on, because something's... Nope, it's nothing. Okay. Next question. Hello, DSP. You attended MagFest, E3, and too many games. I'm wondering if you will be attending more conventions or tournaments later this year. And that's from King of Rambo HD. Well, let's go through the list. I mean, the next closest one would probably be EVO, which is the Fighting Game Nationals. Absolutely not. I'm not attending that for multiple reasons. First reason is because I haven't been playing fighting games at all, let's be honest. Even the most modern ones like Soul Calibur 5, Skullgirls, I play them a little bit over on DSP Street Fighter, which is my fighting game channel, but I haven't really gotten into any of them. I end up getting distracted by other stuff. Project 7 and travel to go to certain things has been taking up a lot of my time. And I really don't feel like at this point in my life I want to dedicate a lot of time to become a competitive player again. Now that being said, a lot of people this year asked me, gee, are you going to EVO because did you hear about the EVO Tournament of Legends that's going on? Now, if you don't know what that... Oops, sorry about that, everyone. What actually happened was my camera battery ran out, which is odd because I should have sworn when I started recording it said it had 90 minutes left. I actually think I have one camera battery that's faulty and only has like half charge at this point, and I think it's been fucked up. So anyway, to get back into what I was talking about, EVO is the next event this year, and a lot of people were asking me would I attend because there's this Tournament of Legends. So if you didn't hear what it is, they're having this invitational tournament by this group who they call themselves ST Revival. Does that sound familiar to anyone? You know, like Don't Blow This. You know, how we had this whole movement to revive arcade version of Super Turbo. A couple years ago, how we used to do live streams of gameplay from the top players from the area. This all seems kind of familiar to me. Well, basically what happened was the West Coast saw what we were doing and wanted to copy us. So they did. They actually literally created a new group called like ST Revival, and they completely stole our idea, only they started doing this on the West Coast instead of on the East Coast like we were doing. Now, admittedly, in the past year, we've fallen off from doing it simply because John Rambo didn't qualify for Super Turbo to go to Togeki last year, Super Battle Opera, and it's not even at Super Battle Opera this year. And that's really what we were primarily focused around, playing all year so that we stay in kind of form so that we can qualify for Super Battle Opera. So for the past year, we haven't really done it. We haven't played, we haven't streamed, we haven't done anything with the fighting games in quite a long time. So these guys took it upon themselves to kind of pick up the reins, and of course, since they're West Coast, they're all buddy-buddy with EVO staff, and they decided, oh, we're going to run a special Super Turbo Invitational Tournament this year, and it's like the best of the best, Tournament of Legends. We're going to have all the best Super Turbo players there from modern times and also the classic OGs, which are the original gamers, they like to call them. And so when this was announced, I had no idea. Because, as you know, I'm out of the loop of these things. I don't pay attention to fighting games. I've been kind of tuned out. I've been very into the mainstream gaming culture with machinima and all this stuff. So apparently, the way that this tournament works is they're going to be inviting certain people who qualify. So if you like, say, for example, you went to Final Round and you won Super Turbo there, you get into the tournament at EVO, okay? If They invited certain Japanese players, which I can understand. They're Japanese. They don't have a chance to qualify, and especially if they're flying over, they want to be sure they're in the tournament. So there's certain Japanese players that just got into the tournament, okay? There were other really fucking weird ways to get into the tournament. Like, this is what really pisses me off. Early on, like when they first announced it back in like January or February, they had some kind of weird fan poll, like who's the fan favorite, and people voted online and Damdai won. Now wait a minute. Damdai, you mean this guy who plays Super Turbo the most on the East Coast, who you know is going to be going to every major tournament this year and probably winning Super Turbo, and who's going to qualify anyway, he wins the online fan vote and gets into the tournament like that way? That makes no sense to me. And if anything, if I had known about this back then, I probably would have participated. And guess what? I have a bigger fan base than anyone in the Street Fighter community, and I would have gotten instantly as the fan-voted winner. But I didn't know about it. No one had even notified me about it at this point. And so Domdai somehow gets in. Then what happens? Domdai proceeds to, exactly as I just said, go to every major East Coast tournament and win Super Turbo, taking up all the qualifier spots. So what ended up happening was everyone who got like second and third place at those tournaments ended up qualifying for this Tournament of Legends because Domdai had already gotten a spot. But what happened? Domdai went around winning all the money, so basically he's going to get a free ride to EVO, and everyone else got fucked up, got basically fucked because they're, oh yes, I qualified for the tournament, but I got second place, almost no money. How am I supposed to afford to go to EVO, right? So it's a lot of things to be said. There's greed involved and all kinds of stuff here. But it makes no sense. How could the person who's already in the tournament be allowed to enter every other qualifier tournament and win all the money? It makes no sense. It's a bad system, okay? Then in addition to all these shenanigans going on, they decide there's going to be 3 people who, the people from this ST Revival group, we're just going to invite them. They don't have to qualify or enter any tournament to get in. We're just going to invite people willy-nilly because we can. To which I said, what the fuck kind of a practice is that? Well, who are you inviting that can't enter a tournament and qualify? So guess who they invite? Jason Cole, who is the national champion, who could easily qualify at any tournament he entered. I mean, there's no reason to give him a spot. They give it to him, but why? Because he's their buddy. So he gets a free spot. Shirts. Now, for those of you who don't know who Shirts is, he used to be a pretty good Super Turbo player. He's one of the few people who picks original Dalsim, who a lot of people think is a detriment. He likes him, and he's done really well at EVO before. Problem being, he hasn't done anything since like 2002. So you're talking a guy who really hasn't played the game at a high competitive level in a decade. We're just going to invite him. Why? Because they're friends with him. And then who else do they invite? Jumpsuit Jesse. Jumpsuit Jesse, who is a good player. He's from the Midwest, but again, hasn't really gone to EVO, hasn't done anything in 100 years. In fact, he hasn't really done anything for, again, almost a decade, really, where he's placed at anything. So the question is, why do these people get the spots? If I were going to invite people, I would think, gee, who is it that probably won't have an opportunity to attend all these qualifiers? Gee, maybe someone who has a back injury and can't really travel that much and already has strained his back because he was contracted by Machinima to go to E3 and he already had a convention that he was going to promote his own stuff. You know, someone who doesn't focus primarily on Street Fighter, but probably if he were to enter the tournament could probably kick 90% of the people's asses anyway. You know, oh no, fuck that. Don't think about that. We're just going to give the spots to our buddies. And that's exactly what happened. They actually gave these qualifying spots to their buddies. And it's complete bullshit. It's corruption. Basically proves that the whole system is false and there's really no real fair qualifier system for this thing. Okay? It's bullshit. So here's what happened. And I know this is going very long-winded. Actually, I was contacted by these guys. But when was I contacted? I believe it was in like April or May for the first time. I think I was contacted by these guys. And all they did is they shot me an email and said, gee, are you planning on attending the EVO Tournament of Legends this year? Now when I got this email, I didn't even know what the EVO Tournament of Legends was. So I was like, what the fuck? So I went back and forth with them a little bit, looked it up, found out all this information, immediately found out that Domdai had somehow won a fan vote months before, even though I knew nothing about a fan vote, and that they were already handing out spots to people who didn't deserve them. They're just like, oh, they're our buddies from back in the day, hand them spots. And I got extremely upset. I was like, this is not a fair way to run this system. This is ridiculous. So I did talk to them a little bit, and finally I got pissed off, and I said, you know what? You guys kind of ripped off our idea to begin with, and you know, you want to take credit and say you're responsible for the ST Arcade Revival. You're not. We are. And I think we have video evidence to prove it. Thousands of people watching to prove it. I should have won the fan vote, in which case that would have been great because I would have just purchased my tickets to EVO and not had to worry about it. You know what I mean? I could have practiced over the course of the year. You notified me way too late about this event, that it was even going on, and you blew it, basically. You don't know what you're doing. You're running an unfair event. You've invited 3 people who Jason Cole, who easily could have qualified, and 2 other people who haven't done anything in a decade. Where's the respect for people who have done stuff recently? So basically, the event is completely West Coast biased. It's bullshit, and I don't support it. I think it's completely bonkers, and they could do whatever the fuck they want. So no, there was no motivation for me to go to EVO this year. even outside of the fact that I'm not playing the modern games, there was no motivation for me to go play in the Tournament of Legends either, because it's run completely unfairly. It's probably going to be bullshit anyway, so who gives a fuck? Outside of EVO, we looked at some events that are going on in the next couple of months. We decided we're not going to Kineticon this year, because last year when we went, it really wasn't gaming related too much. I mean, I did play in a couple fighting game tournaments, but outside of that, there wasn't a lot of gaming going on. And in addition to that, again, for the second year in a row, I submitted a request on their website to do a panel, and they didn't even respond. So their website is a piece of shit, and whoever runs Kineticon really should learn how to run it better, because I could have brought probably a couple hundred people to your event, especially from the local area, and especially looking at the draw that I had at Too Many Games. I could have brought hundreds of people to your event, and you just don't fucking respond to requests on your website, so you need to learn how to run a business, okay? Outside of Kineticon, we may be attending New York Comic Con this year, but if we do, it's going to be as attendees only. OJ, I don't know if anyone knows about this, but this year they've decided to combine the Anime Artist Alley and the Comic Book Artist Alley into one. So there's literally only like half the spots available than there were last year. Last year, OJ and his friend had a table in Anime Artist Alley. This year, he put in a request, and they denied his request for a table. You tell me why. I have no clue. It makes no sense. So unfortunately, we won't have a table. What we may do is just go for a day, walk around and cover everything and film, and then get out of there. So it's not guaranteed that we're going to be there. We might try to be there. The unfortunate part is we're not going to have anywhere to meet and greet the fans this year because New York Comic Con denied us a table because, again, they don't know what they're doing. I don't know what it is with these convention runners. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, I don't know. But I can tell you this. The definite one that we're looking to attend is MagFest 11. We're definitely looking to attend that event. So if you want to try to attend something that, number one, is a really good event, and number two, you know, we're definitely going to be at magfest.org, has all the information. It's the same location as last year. We're definitely going to be going to that, okay? All right, man, 2 questions took up, or that was only 1 question. Holy shit. Next question. What are your thoughts on the Street Fighter 25th Anniversary Kit? That's from Rancer Super Street Fighter 4. I'm actually going to take the hat off for it because it's really hot in here. It's a very hot day today. My thoughts are this. It's a really neat collectible. Like, I don't know if anyone's seen it. We actually saw it at E3. It has, like, every version of Street Fighter, console version available, including the most current version of Super Street Fighter 4, Super Turbo HD Remix, Third Strike that was on Xbox Live. Get all the vouchers and everything to get these games. Plus, it has it's a soundtrack for, like, almost every single Street Fighter game is included. Plus, it has the 2 Blu-ray anime movies of Street Fighter 4 and some artwork and a statue of Ryu. But here's my thing. What kind of person would be interested in this anniversary kit? Probably someone who's a huge fan of Street Fighter, right? So probably someone who already has all those games, may already have those Blu-rays, may even have this statue of Ryu, because it's not even an exclusive statue of Ryu. This is a Ryu statue that's been out for some time already. So what I'm confused about is why are they selling an anniversary kit that has all the content that people who would probably want an anniversary celebration already have? If anything, why not release a new statue of Ryu, a new Blu-ray? And the answer is because they don't have any new content. They're just packaging pre-made stuff together and trying to sell it as a new kit. So I can see where they're going, but I think it's kind of silly that they're doing it that way, and I think that they should have put more originality into it and done something better. Alright. Let's keep going. Next question. Hey Phil, you mentioned your back injury a lot, especially after long trips. And I'm wondering why you aren't on serious meds. You have insurance now, so why don't you get some decent pain prescriptions, especially for those times when you know your back's going to get strained. And if you're already taking medication, why not get something stronger? And that's from Fang7124. That's a good question. It's a question that I've never really answered before. And the answer is pretty simple. People who go on pain medication for chronic pain, like what I have, unfortunately have a tendency to get hooked on it. And what I mean is, you become dependent on it. Okay, you know, at first it'll be, alright, I just want to numb the pain. Then it'll be, oh, well, I can't operate unless I'm numb from the pain. And then it'll become, oh, this is just my daily routine. I take these painkillers. After a while, it wears off or it's not as strong. So now you start taking extra painkillers so that you don't feel that pain. And I don't want to get into that rut. I know people, I actually personally know people who started on painkillers for injuries and got hooked on them and fucked up their lives. And And in addition to that, addiction actually runs in my family. Genetically, there's a lot of people in my family who have become either drug addicts or alcoholics. And so I don't even want to begin to go down that slippery slope. And therefore, I just have not sought out any kind of medication for my back injury because I would rather live in pain than live in addiction. Let's put it that way. I have too many positives in my life right now. I have an amazing career going on YouTube, cool fans, a great family, a beautiful girlfriend, friends. I can't throw all that away just for the sake of, oh, no more pain in my back. So that's the answer to that question. Next question. DSP, one day can you play the Sonic the Hedgehog game from 2006? I really believe that it will get a lot of views, and before you say no, can you at least think about it, please? That's from D-Man Gamer. Now, if you're not familiar with this game, the reason I think he wants me to play it is because it is historically, collectively agreed upon, the worst Sonic game ever made. What they were trying to do in 2006, it was the 15th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog, and the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3 had just come out, and they were trying to reboot Sonic for a new generation, or kind of repackage him and make him look cool, and make this game kind of start up new Sonic lore. This game had Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, Amy the Hedgehog, all the characters from like Knuckles Chaotix. It had like 100, Shadow the Hedgehog. It had 100 different characters were in this game. Okay? But here's what happened. It failed miserably because the game sucked. If anyone could have played the game for more than 10 minutes, they would have realized the game was full of game bugs. And I personally did own it. I bought it at a bargain bin, and when I played it, I got to like the 3rd level, and there was one loop-de-loop that every time you ran towards it, Sonic refused. He would run up the loop-de-loop, fall off, and die instantly. And I couldn't. It was a game bug, and everyone just documented this was a game bug in the game. This one loop-de-loop was bugged for some people, and I couldn't fucking get past it. I did it for like an hour. I said, "Fuck this!" And I just threw it away. Like I'd never played it again. So I don't even know if I traded it in. I know I don't have it anymore. I think that he thinks this would be funny because the game is so buggy and bad. And in addition to that, one of the most ludicrous plots ever dreamt up, Sonic falls in love with a human girl. So an anamorphic hedgehog and a human girl are kissing. My God. It was really fucking bad, let's put it that way. So I guess that's why he wants me to play it. My answer is, will I possibly play it in the future? What I may do, and this is kind of funny, what I may do in the future is the worst games of all time, or my picks for worst games. That is definitely one of the worst games of all time. So I may do like a marathon one day. I'm going to try to play the worst fucking games of all time, and I think people might like that. But as of right now, I have no plans to play that game, but it may happen in the future. This is another cool idea that I may save and do sometime in the future, so thanks D-Man Gamer for that idea, okay? Alright, so that's it for part 2. Now we're going to go to part 3 where I got a couple more questions from the website, and then I'm going to get into finally into your Twitter and Facebook questions. So this is a super long 25th episode of Ask the King. Please stay tuned. Some more really good stuff, some good questions coming up. You're going to want to watch them. So I'll be right back. Thanks.